We have multiple new Juan Soto updates to go over today as reports are starting to escalate as his decision inches closer and closer. So we're going to break down those new reports and discuss how it pertains to the Toronto Blue Jays, as well as a new update revealing the exact timeline for Juan Soto's signing. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who are watching aren't subscribed, and we're producing daily Jays content. And as the Juan Soto and other free agency rumors continue to escalate, this is the place to be for daily Jays content, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. But Peter, we have a lot to go over today, specifically regarding Juan Soto. Obviously, this is the week where, in all likelihood, he is going to sign, and it's at a point now where things are starting to pick up, and there's a lot of new reports. Some came out today from Scotty Mitchell. We have some from yesterday from Jeff Passan, and we're going to start with Scott Mitchell. This is the first time of him speaking out on it, and it's not crazy information, but it's definitely some interesting things here. So he had a little tidbit on Juan Soto, and he says, according to his sources, he works with TSN, obviously. He says the interest is real, as is the ability to meet his financial demands. Will Soto choose the city of Toronto? That seems to be the only question, and it would be a shocking decision for those south of the border, and it might rattle the baseball world for a while, but it's on the bingo card. Not much else needs to be said. And he basically goes on to say that he's not Ohtani, but he's pretty close. Are Jays fans in store for more heartbreak? Maybe. But it's not nothing that they're being considered by these high-end stars these days, even if no one wants to hear that. So it's another reporter saying at the very least out of this, the Jays' ability to reach his financial demands are clear, and they have that ability. What are your thoughts on this, I guess, report from Scott Mitchell? Again, he kind of provides a bit of a different tone than the some of the Sportsnet guys, but at the end of the day, it's still intriguing as rumors start to escalate here.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a possibility. And we take a look at the different optics of the situation that it does make sense if the Jays meet his financial needs, of course. And that's the number one thing that we've been hearing all along. It's that if they do meet those demands, they're going to give themselves a chance. I still think it's more likely for him to go to another destination, whether it be the Mets or the Yankees, but you can't discount the Jays just for the simple fact that they're working with a much larger budget than a lot of other teams around Major League Baseball. So they were involved last time in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. They're involved yet again with Juan Soto, and maybe we're setting ourselves up here again for heartbreak. But the way I see it is that you've been in this process for quite a while now. If you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you've been since the start of the offseason really trying to chip away at this and give yourself the best possible chance to land him. Where if you don't, I still think you can pivot because the other big time free agents haven't really signed apart from Blake Snell. So there's still some other great names out there. We've been saying it all off season long that we give them about a 15 to 20% chance to outright sign the guy. But then if you don't, you still have a lot of work to do. And I still think you should invest in this team. I don't think a rebuild is what is necessary because your farm system is not where it needs to be, to put it quite frankly. So I think if you don't get him, there are other backup options that could still make this an B plus off season. So whether it's Max Fried, who we've been kind of hammering away at for a while now, whether it's Anthony Santander, who the Blue Jays are apparently the number one suitor for him. There's a lot of different backup plans out there, and a combination of players could make up what you would have gotten out of Juan Soto. Obviously, he's the golden goose. He's the top dog, but there are some pretty good backup plans, which was not the case last year. The Blue Jays kind of set themselves up last season. They put all their eggs in the Ohtani basket, and then there wasn't really much else to for them to pivot to. I think it's different this time around. So even if they don't get him, yeah, it's gonna suck. But there are definitely other options that can help this team out and move them back into the playoffs.
Yeah, and none of them are going to be as easy and as seamless as adding an 8-win player in Juan Soto. And again, their interest is real. Their ability to meet this is now the fifth reporter probably who said they have the ability to meet the financial demands. So if it's just about money, like we've been hearing, then maybe there's a chance that they actually go for it here. And we have some other reports. And this one, we covered it on our stream yesterday, but we can dive into it again here. It's from Jeff Passan. And he came out on a podcast, I believe it's Corey Kluber's podcast, because everyone has podcasts these days, but it's interesting. And he says, when making the case for New York, for the New York Yankees, New York Mets, the Red Sox, and Toronto, he said the Toronto Blue Jays can completely remake the organization and sell Juan Soto on Canada and being the sports hero for an entire country. That part, I'm not really, I don't think athletes at this point really fully buy into that. However, there is some players I'm sure that would love to be a part of a country. The more interesting part for me is the end here. In the end, when choosing a team, it's going to be about the money, Passan says. So if you take that from Jeff Passan, who is obviously one of the most reliable reporters, and you pair it with the fact that they have the ability to meet his financial demands, it's now just up to Rodgers to come out and say, okay, we're going to give you more money than Steve Cohen and continue to outbid Steve Cohen, as is probably happening in the very moment of us recording this video. Is there's probably negotiations going on between Steve Cohen, Juan Soto, the Jays, obviously the Yankees, and the Red Sox. So Passan's saying if he goes where the money's going to be, and he obviously wants to break that Shohei Ohtani deal, maybe the Jays go up to 650, go up to 690, and ultimately hit 700 million to surpass the Ohtani 700 million deferred deal. It seems like that is the case, and multiple reports have come out revealing that over the past 24 hours. And you can see here from another New York reporter, Randy Miller, saying the Red Sox, Mets, and Jays have all made offers upwards and over 600 million. So they're in it. They're not skimping out, and it's just a matter of if they're actually going to give the most money. Because I can't imagine Soto's going to choose the Jays unless they give him the most money by a little bit at least.
Yeah, well, that's the bare minimum when we're taking a look at how this situation is going to play itself out. But that's a dangerous game that you're setting yourself up for, trying to outbid Steve Cohen, because he has publicly come out and said that he will not be outbid for the services of Juan Soto. I'm sure there's a limit to how far he's willing to go, but if you're the Blue Jays, if you want to have any chance at him, there can't be any limit to how far you're going to go, and that's another worry of mine, that if it does work out, and let's say you have to go all the way to upwards of $750 million for the guy, how much is going to be left to go around? Because last time I checked, Soto is not on the mound getting you 15 wins a season. He's not a Gold Glove level center fielder either. He's an average to below average defender in the corners in the outfield, and he's a guy who hits the crap out of the ball. That's what he is. So yeah, he fills definitely a huge hole that you have in your lineup, but there's a lot more work to do after that. Whereas if you were getting Ohtani, maybe not in the first year, but you reap the benefits of his two-way ability. You're not doing that with Juan Soto. So I understand the age factor and the consistency that he's had ever since stepping into the big leagues, but $750 million or whatever it's going to end up being, that's a lot of money. And there can't be a limit to how much you're going to be willing to spend after that, because you got to fill some holes in your bullpen. You probably got to acquire a third baseman. So the work can't stop there if you do miraculously somehow get him. So it's got to be Soto, and then it's got to be plus, plus, plus. You got to go all in at that point. And I'm sure the Blue Jays will, but there's clearly a budget sort of that they're working with here if they don't get him. So I wouldn't be so optimistic to say that they'll land everyone else on their short list if they don't get him. But if they do get him, I think then we're going to see the floodgates open for the Blue Jays, and they're going to become a lot more attractive for other free agents around Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and as you look at winning decision, again, Juan Soto, according to John Heyman, who's Scott Boras' mouthpiece, no deal is done. All 5 teams still have a shot. Teams could be eliminated soon. This was as of last night, so things are starting to heat up there. And Jack Curry, obviously a New York Yankees guy, I think a resolution to this is in the next week to 10 days, so before winter meetings, which start in about a week or so. So let us know down below what your thoughts are. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news. Things are continuing to escalate, so it's a time of the off season where things are going to get hot, so make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys later.